Hey y'all, welcome back to the Quimby Chronicles. This is your space for real conversations about womanhood, motherhood, and carrying a whole lot without losing yourself. I'm Tracy, a mom to adult kids, a school age kid, a Gigi to two wonderful grandkids, a sister, a caregiver, a breadwinner, and a woman who's still learning how to choose herself without guilt. So if you're listening while folding laundry, sitting in the car, or just hiding in the bathroom for 5 minutes of peace, you're in the right place. Let's talk. Hey, y'all. Welcome back to another episode of the Quimby Chronicles. And today, let's start by naming something that doesn't get said enough. Parenting adult kids is still exhausting. And not the kind of exhausting people expect. It's not the visible kind, not the kind that gets sympathy, but it's a deep, quiet tire that settles into your body. So if your kids are grown or almost grown, people assume you're in the easy season. You know, they think that because your kids are older, now you should have more freedom, you should have more time, you should have more energy, but you're tired. You're still so very tired. And you're not tired because you're failing, but because the work has changed. Let's talk about why this kind of tired feels confusing. When our kids were little, exhaustion made sense. They needed us physically. We physically ran around behind them, and they were loud about it. Okay, they were not going to let you rest until you heard what they were trying to say. When they were little, the work was visible, so you could point to it and say, oh, "Okay, so I've done this, this, and this. That's why I'm tired." But parenting adult kids is so very different. They don't need you in those obvious ways anymore, and they don't live under your roof in the same way. They're out here in the world, they're making their own choices, yet your heart is still working overtime. This is the kind of tired that's so much harder to explain because it doesn't come with proof. You have no proof that there are kids draining you. And when you're trying to explain exhaustion that has no physical cause, it'll get dismissed, including by us. Yes, we do it to ourselves also. So, this invisible emotional labor is probably worse than the physical labor. So, let me slow down a little bit because this part matters. Parenting adult kids requires emotional labor that rarely gets acknowledged. Parenting adult kids looks like worrying without being able to intervene because you want them to be adults and you want them to go off and do their own thing. Um, it could look like loving them without trying to control them. Same thing. It can look like holding opinions that you don't share because you don't want to inadvertently try to control them and guide their feelings in a way that, they don't feel is authentic to them. It could look like staying available without directing. It can look like managing your own fear privately because even though you are scared to pieces for your kids, you still want them to go forth and try to figure out things on their own. That's exhausting work because your instincts don't just shut off, but your authority has definitely shifted. And that tension, it lives in your nervous system. So let's talk about a moment that I couldn't fix. I want to sit inside this one moment for a minute, not summarize it, not rush through it. Think about a time that your adult child called you with something heavy or came to you with something heavy. Maybe it was a decision they were making. Maybe it was a situation you didn't agree with. Maybe it was a struggle you couldn't solve, but you listened. And while you were listening, every single fiber of your being wanted to step in because As mama, you wanted to offer solutions. You wanted to soften the consequences of their actions. You wanted to protect them from harm, but you didn't. And in that moment, you felt helpless. You felt scared. You felt restrained. And then later, once the call had ended, that's when the exhaustion hit. The exhaustion wasn't because you did something, but the exhaustion is because you didn't. That restraint that you showed, it takes energy, and it takes a lot of energy. Why does this season drain you differently? Parenting adult kids drains you because you care deeply, but without control. You love fiercely, but without authority. You stay connected, but without direction. And these combinations require constant self regulation and self reflection. Self regulation is very tiring, but it's not weakness, it's maturity. Some of you listening are tired in a way that you can't explain. Your kids are grown, but your heart is still putting in overtime. Why? Because you worry quietly, you process alone, and you don't want to burden anyone with it. And you might be wondering why you're so tired when you're supposed to be in an easier season. You're not imagining it. You're not. This season asks for a different kind of strength, a kind of strength that we never had to exhibit before when the kids were younger. When our kids were younger, love had tasks. It was packing lunches, signing forms, driving places. Now that love is a lot quieter. Now that love looks like waiting, trusting, holding space, and biting your tongue. Quiet love still requires energy. It just doesn't get acknowledged in the same way. Here's another layer. Many moms feel guilty for being tired in this season. And if you do, then you start to tell yourself, oh, I should be grateful. Other people have had it harder. They're grown now. But the problem is that guilt doesn't restore energy. What it does just the opposite. It adds weight to what you already have. And you're allowed to be tired without explaining yourself. So I want to come back to something I said earlier. Parenting adult kids is still draining, not because something's wrong, but because love didn't end when the rules changed. It evolved, and evolution takes energy. Let's pause. Ask yourself quietly, where am I carrying emotional weight that no one sees? As always, don't answer out loud. Just notice it. Because that awareness that you're even carrying the emotional weight that no one sees matters. If you're tired in this season, you're not weak, you're not ungrateful, you're not failing. You're parenting in a quieter, deeper way now. And that kind of love still costs something. So take a breath with me before you go and blow it out. You're allowed to rest here. Thank you for sitting with me today. Next time, we'll talk about what happens when one child needs more than the others and how that stretches you in unexpected ways. Until then, be gentle with the tired you can't explain. Before you go, take a breath with me. Breathe in, breathe out. You're doing more than enough, even on the days it doesn't feel like it. If this episode felt like a mirror, share it with someone who might need it too. and I'll be right here next week. Same space, same grace.